Okay, real quick. Who here has worked with an SDK for data annotation? Almost every data annotation platform out there has an SDK layer, right? You name anyone like RoboFlow, Labelbox, Labellerr, anyone out there has an SDK layer, right? So you know the drill. If you want to do something pretty basic using the SDK layer, let's say upload some images, create a project, get your team annotate things up, or like you just want to have the status for like your annotation project, it's not very straightforward. Not to you, not to your team, right? Let's not talk about it all at once. Just start with simple thing. Let's say create a project. Okay, so should take what, 5 minutes? All right, so let's see that in action. Okay, so this is our Labellerr SDK documentation, and now you go to the docs. So our target is to create a project. We clicked here, and then we saw overview section. Okay, cool. So then we got to know that for creating a project, you need 3 components: dataset, annotation template, project configuration. Okay, then got it. Then scroll down, and in the quick start, it's perfect. This is what I need. Okay, and you see this massive code block staring back at you, right? From labellerr.client import this and this, then from labellerr.core dataset import, create dataset from local. So 5 import statements before you even get started. So then you'll see the first step is to create dataset. Alright, so you'll see dataset is equal to create dataset from local function, and then you're passing on these parameters. But wait, what if I need to create a project from a pre-existing dataset from my workspace, which is already present in there? So by the time you get to the bottom, you have probably read 2000 words of documentation, right? And here's the thing, you still haven't created the project yet. You have just been reading it all about, and you just figuring out like what sort of functions you need to check, and like what's the method you want to take. Now you just need to actually write the code. So now, even after this whole sort of reading thing, you need to actually write the code, copy these snippets, which is very relevant to your use case, and then modify them, figure out your specific parameters, debug when something doesn't match, although we do have the troubleshooting guide here, but still you have to do it yourself. So if you're like me, you're probably thinking that there is got to be a better way to do this, right? At least in 2025. Okay, so what if I told you that you could skip all of that? No reading documentation, no copying code snippets, no memorizing import statements or schema parameters. What if you could just describe what you want and it happens? Feels like magic, right? So what if annotation project creation looked like this instead? Okay, so this is my cursor editor, and it's connected to something we just built. Okay, so I'll just ask, I'll just add a prompt like list all the data sets present in my Labellerr workspace. To cross confirm this, I'll just open the Labellerr workspace, and I'll open the datasets here. Okay, so my datasets are like this: loon, penguins, pills. Okay, let's try this out. So let's just try to list it down. I'll just enter it down, and let's see. Okay, so it automatically asked me to run this tool. I'll just accept. Okay, and in fraction of seconds, the output is written here. Okay, it found that 75 datasets in my Labellerr workspace, and yeah, this is a recent ones: the loon, penguin, pills. I think I've already shown you. Okay, let's do one more thing. Let's say I want to create a project that we have discussed about. So let's just ask here in our cursor chat box that using Bill's data set, please create one project named Bill's MCP project. Let's to drag this up. This is created by the MCP server. And for annotation questions, consider adding like one is your pills, that too with polygon annotation. Second one is your capsules, that too with the polygon annotation. Okay, this is I think we got the data sets. Then we just need to get forward with the annotation questions here. I'll just add it down. Let's see. Okay, it created the to-do list. First, it needs to create the annotation template as we have already described in the flow. At first, you need to create the template. So I'll run this up, and if you can see, the template name is the spills. The question type is polygon. Then the question 2 is capsules, and its question type is polygon. And the required true, it's a default parameter it has taken. And then for the second to do, it is running this project create tool for creating project using Bill's dataset and the template. Okay, I'll run it down. All right, so I think it says that we already created the Bill's MCP project. It's cross confirm it. Check on our projects. Okay, you can see Bill's MCP project. Let's view it down. Let's confirm the annotation questions there. So we'll start labeling from here. All right, so you can see the two annotation questions, the pills and the capsules. So the pills, if you can check, yeah, it is showing in the polygon annotation, and similar for the capsules, right? So done in like almost 10-20 seconds. How about this? No documentation, no code, no the manual 3-step workflow, no schema reference table, just conversations. So what just happened here? You must be curious about that. So yeah, so we built the very first MCP server for data annotation platform. And if you don't know about MCP, so MCP is Model Context Protocol. It's how we connect our entire SDK or your entire Python SDK functionality to AI. So we are basically taking okay, so we are basically talking 23 tools, everything from dataset management to annotation exports, all available through just chatting around in the natural language. So instead of you reading a 2000 word docs page and writing 50 lines of code and then again troubleshooting it up, do assign your work to AI. The AI reads the docs, or like it reads the description, like what tools need to be executed. It writes the code, or like it runs the tool itself, and the AI executes everything. So you just tell it what you want, and this would be done. Okay, so think about that for a second while you are scrolling through step 1, step 2, step 3, and debugging import errors, and someone else is creating a project in 10 seconds through just conversations. Interesting, right? All right, enough FOMO for the day, I think. And so let me just show you exactly how this works and how to set it up and what else you can do with it. Hey everyone, so I'm back with what I promised. And so this one would be very quick and subtle walkthrough of setting up the MCP server in Cursor. So starting up, this I'm using cursor as my ID. So first we'll be cloning the repo. For the repo, you can simply I'll add this repo link in the description itself. Also, you can see the Labellerr organization, and in the organization there's a repository named SDK Python. You need to simply clone that. Simply get code from here, and yes, then you can simply clone that. Destination, open it. All right. So the MCP server lives in the Labellerr/MCP server directory here, and you just need to see like these are the main components, which are the tools.py and server.py here. So we can simply open the quick start guide here. In the quick start, the step 1 is to get your credentials, and for getting your API key, API secrets, and client ID, you can simply take help from the Labellerr documentation here. There is one section which is we have added all steps from where you can just get your API credentials sorted. You need these 3 credentials, these API key, and API secret, and the client ID for yourself. Okay, so once it's sorted, then you can just jump into the second part, which is the installation for required dependencies. So you can simply copy this command and open my terminal. Just make sure that you are in the right directory. So you can just cross check that you're in the SDK Python itself. You can simply paste it, install requirement. Okay, so you can see, I think it might take some time, but in my system it was installed earlier itself, so yeah, it didn't take much. Okay, so once you're done with your 2 steps, so first one is to just get your credentials from the Labellerr workspace. The second one is to install the required dependencies. And the third one, we just need to configure MCP server here. So if you're using cursor like me, there is the file mcp.json is in our cursor. You can simply find it here in the cursor settings. You just need to see here the tools and MCP section. You'll see the section for installed MCP servers here, and here itself. So I think I've already configured that. You can see the format here. So I'm hiding it for the obvious reasons. But here in the argument, you can just pass the server.py file, and in the uh, in this section, you just need to put the credentials up. And once you are done, you can just toggle this on, and you might need to restart your cursor application so that it can activate your MCP server. So this all needs to be done from your side. And once it's done, once it's showing the green light here, you can simply use a chat window here to use any tools, or you just query in natural language, and you'll be good to go with all the things up. And for the tool section, you can see in the readme itself, there are 23 tools that we have exposed here. So from project management to monitoring and analysis, there are like certain tools, and if you want that any new tools to be added, so you can just let us write to us for that. So yeah, that's it, I guess, for the setup part. I have already shown you like how we can simply query in the chat window to just run it for the for the different use cases. Okay, I think that's it for this part. And before you go, there are 2 quick tips. So the first one is to just keep your mcp.json file very safe, since it contains your secret keys. And the second part is that if your tool don't show up after edits, just double check the absolute path for the server file here, and make sure you restart the cursor again after you configure all that. And yeah, for the model selection here, just try to use some state-of-art models like which are really good at tool calling. I'll recommend you the Sonnet 4.5, or like any Claude model like Opus 4.5 for that. And right now, like I think every model is very good at tool calling. Don't use very primitive model to expect some good results from MCP server. Just use some state-of-art new models which are really good at your tool calling. And yeah, that's it, I guess. So yeah, if you if this helped, so save it so you can reference these steps later. And if you want, I can make a follow-up showing at any end-to-end flow on your like custom use cases. You can just comment below like what sort of functionalities you are expecting from the MCP server for Labellerr. And yeah, that's it. So thanks for watching this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.